quick quick thing for the gram, then we'll get going. Quick story post for the gram to let them know. And if you know, you know. Alrighty. Plans for today. We start by warming up. We start by just drawing kind of a little bit of whatever. And then we'll I think we'll finish this piece today. Yep. So let's start by warming up. I really just disappear my smudge guards. I really just did disappear my smudge guards the other day. Crazy thing is I have 3 of these gloves. 2 of them are just gone now. Let this be a lesson, never clean your room. All right, here we go. I have like a million Pinterest windows open. Maybe I should work to close a couple of them. Oh, put on the light. All right. Cool, well, let's get going. Move the mic a little bit, maybe? It's like a little bit in the way right now. That feels better. Okay, and then the whole talk yesterday was about patience. That was like the whole point. Actually don't know about that leg. See, in the reference it's covered by a panned leg, so it's hard to figure out what's going on. A little bit of like double jointedness sometimes works to imply supporting on, like putting your weight on an arm. I guess we started with a bit of a tough reference. The biggest thing is actually because this arm is covered by like a jacket she's wearing. So I'm having a little bit of trouble figuring out exactly what's going on with it down here. Hello, Dari PX1. How you doing? All right. They call them warm-ups for a reason. That's like one of my favorite nonsensical sayings is, well, they call it work for a reason. Defining words by themselves is a vibe. You can't hear me. That might be your problem. Yeah, you're watching without audio. Oh, fair enough. Right. What was I saying? What was I on about? That one's gonna be tricky. I don't know that I'm gonna keep up the. the text. I think at some point I gotta lock in. Can I turn on CC? Oh! Had no idea that was a thing. I'll look at it. See closed captions. Uh, okay. Um, cool. I'll do that next time. I'll do that next time. For now we draw. This feels like a somewhat long torso. This is a nice pose. Why do I like this pose? I like this pose because she's interacting with the environment. I like this pose because it's less self-contained, right? I think that's what's appealing about it to me. It feels like more natural acting because you're using your surroundings. I think so. My goal generally for these warm-up drawings is to end up with a drawing that I think I could polish into something solid. So I want to put in the information that I would need to make a good drawing later. Like, I believe that one. I think that could be a good drawing later. That's a pretty straight line. Well, it's an okay straight line. Cool. Drop that into the reference document so I can close the tab. And then another one. So, to achieve these drawings that I think could be turned into good drawings later, I'm trying to have more patience, more intention, so that the marks I put down are like more measured. They're closer to the final marks that I would make. Yeah, I think I need more curve to this C curve. This one's kind of got the same thing as the last pose. It's interacting with the environment. In this case, she is and let's try to add that actually. I mean, not perfect, but she's walking up some stairs. And then to the side, that's about right. A little bit higher. So she's pulling on the railing so that she can push her body out more to the side, right? Which allows her to have like a more exaggerated out of balance curve, but still be in balance because she's supported over here. Then actually, her torso is all rotated this way. It's just the leg that swings over. And then what else? The neck is too long. See if we can find the hand. Something about the arm that I don't like. All right, and another one. are there any IPs that have like a lot of like fashionable characters? I gotta that I like. That's what I gotta find. I gotta find the sweet spot between like a like a franchise that's popular, has very like high fashion characters and posing, and that I like. Because then I can do like a million pieces of fan art of that. Off the Dome, there's JoJo, maybe? I also thought, I really like the Spider-Verse franchise, but I've like never done any fan art of it. That's like free real estate. Is this the exact same perspective? It kind of is. So even though like my stairs here weren't perfect, we'll just grab these stairs from over here. Go ahead and reuse them. Shrink her a little bit. Something like that. And this head is a little bit extreme. His leg's a little long. I think these heels are quite a lot taller than they seem from this perspective. Definitely need more of an angle to the pelvis. Only thing here is, well, I guess there's a couple of things. I want more of an angle between, guess what? The two masses in the human body that you want to contrast the most in figure drawings is the rib cage and the pelvis. More of a crunch there. Feels better. I think I drew the rib cage a little too big, or the torso, the upper body a little too big. Specific woman is quite skinny. And there you go. I still think, man, a little bit too much torso, not enough leg. All right. And one more maybe? Perchance, mayhaps? Per B? May chance? Let's at least group these two. Look, there's another interaction with the wall. Definitely a bit of acting I could use some more in my characters is interacting with the environment like that. It's a big head. This is definitely a new vibe for drawing. I get these phases where I enjoy a particular kind of mark making. And for the past while it's been like super intense shape based, don't be afraid to fail kind of. That's been the vibe for my drawings for a little while. I'm kind of starting to get into this like accuracy based, feel out the form, feel out the shape. It's kind of like I associate it a lot with Ness cane. It's like the small brush technique. The painting with like a pixel brush technique, or drawing with a pixel brush. Where, because, you know, there's not a lot of like tolerance. This line, right? Depending on the viewer, you can kind of be, sometimes you might interpret this line like this line, and sometimes you might interpret it like this line. There's like an inaccuracy inherent in thick mark making. But when you do thin lines like this, there is one spot where this line is. There's one place for the viewer to interpret a specific line. And so it encourages more accuracy and patience in your drawing, right? Which, as we've been discussing, accuracy and patience is something I've been missing in my art for a little while now. So this is something I do kind of a lot, and I don't know that it's necessarily particularly helpful, but it keeps me motivated and inspired. It's just vary up the way that I draw every once in a while. And for sure, it does make sure that I practice different things. Over the course of a couple months, right? But I'm trying to be more accurate with my marks now, which a thin brush is very conducive to. All right. Oh, right. Le outfit. Nope. Nope. That's a little better. Also, something that I've found helps me with this like accuracy-based way of drawing is the more I can allow myself to not connect lines. The more I allow stuff like this, the more I'm able to, and stuff like this, the more I'm able to make marks that are actually exactly where I want them. Because I don't need the entirety of the mark to be exactly where I want it in the first go, but I can kind of like piece it together. So it puts less pressure on your ability to be able to nail a specific line on the first try. Sup, Ice Space Cow? How you doing? Wasa, as they say. I'm good. I'm good. Just hanging out, doing my warm ups. Yeah, I don't know. Happy Races Smiles. Hello, hello. My lines are pretty smooth. Oh, thanks. How are we doing on this one overall? I would like a little bit more. contrast in the face. I am using references. Yeah. This is just off a couple Pinterest references I found. That doesn't work. Well, that's for later. Less forehead on this one, and just a little bit more face, I think. Loop. All right, let's move on to the character that I want to finish today. Behold a lady. There comes fine right now. Happy Racist Smiles, you did some of your own art studies today. That's nice. That's good. Stay winning. It's lower the table and lock in time. Now, if you guys were to calmly and calculatedly use popular current social media trends to like build an art account or whatever, what franchises would you do fan art of? Asking for a friend? I have a game plan for this one written down somewhere. Symbol cell shading. Yeah, we're in the process of doing that one. Is it actually done? I guess it might be. That's all the the dog. The red on the dog. That's a hard one. I'm certainly a little late on the K-pop Demon Hunters, for example. You mostly do music or game characters? Music characters? Like a Vocaloid? Vocaloid? Had to emphasize the voice crack. What other music characters are there? There's like a Deadmau5. Like the artists. Oh, yeah, no, that's good. Yeah. I do that sometimes. I did a series of fan arts of my favorite rappers once. I could probably just repost that one. Because that was back when I wasn't really influencering very hard back then. Any popular anime for engagement, you suppose, or old cartoons? Oh yeah, that's right. I saw that guy Phil Tomato. He does like fan art of like Cartoon Network characters and Nickelodeon characters and junk, and that's hugely popular. Who's on the list? The favorite rappers list? The favorite rappers are, and I don't actually know if I did a Kendrick. I should do a Kendrick one. You like how I made this? How I did the skin? Thanks. Oh, the tattoo. I need to. Yeah. Okay. Kendrick, Jid, Open Mike Eagle, David Diggs, and then okay, let's look at my light direction. My light direction is like that. And then I did a Dochi one too. Dochi's pretty good. Yeah, Dochi's pretty good. I think I did a Doja Cat one too. Doja Cat is actually one of my favorite rappers. Doja Cat was my most listened to artist last year. And then let's grab that, move it more red, move it lighter saturated, do a little bit of some subsurface scattering here. Tupac. I did an Andre 3000 one too, actually, and I kind of need to do an Anderson .Paak one. Tyler. I did a Tyler too. Tyler the Creator? Man, I've done a lot of rappers. Okay. Quick tip on subsurface scattering. And then let's think about it. Let's set up like a lighting scenario first. Let's have like a let's do a quick one on subsurface scattering. Just because that's one I haven't done yet. Oop, and then let's do like a circle. And you will just be, it'll just be like a piece of paper. And then you will be important. You'll be the skin. And then, yeah. Actually, give me a second. We'll do that on a different layer. And remove that one. Oh, I just did Andre, which is actually Not quite fair to Big Boy because Big Boy's really, really good as well. I didn't even really need the cast shadow, but now we're doing it, I guess. Oh, come on. That feels good enough. Alright, so this took a little bit longer to set up than I wanted it to. I just want to make like a quick, simple demo here. You guys have heard the term subsurface scattering. Now, right. First of all, what the heck is subsurface scattering? Well, when light enters a surface, a translucent surface, one of the more common of which is skin, or when light hits a translucent surface, it actually enters the surface a little bit. It goes into the surface. So this is the surface of the skin. If this here's the surface of the skin, the light actually enters the surface a little bit and bounces around a little bit here in the surface of the skin. When that happens, it takes on some of the color of the skin. And then it leaves the skin in a random direction, hence the term subsurface scattering. The light gets scattered after taking on some of the color of the skin. Okay, so that's what subsurface scattering is. Light enters a translucent surface, bounces around within it, and leaves it in a random direction. Now, how do we draw that? How do we paint that? In the light, you won't see this. Because in the light, the light information that you're perceiving, it's already overpowered by direct light, by a direct light source hitting the skin, right? That then gets reflected to us, the viewers, and so we see the direct light. Generally, you tend to see, when we're looking at a surface, you tend to see the strongest light source. So if there's a really strong reflection, you see that. If there's a direct light, you see that. Like the stronger light overpowers the weaker light. So where do you see subsurface scattering? You see it in the shadows. Which means once you've rendered a simple sphere with no subsurface scattering, you can then introduce subsurface scattering by just adding a brighter, more saturated color of whatever the translucent material that you're rendering is around the edge of the shadow. And you'll get this in form shadows as well as cast shadows. The brighter the light source, and give me a second here. the brighter the light source and the more translucent your material, the brighter the subsurface scattering, and the more the subsurface scattering will travel through the material. All right, quick subsurface scattering demo. Anyway, why did I decide to do that? Right, because I was just putting in some subsurface scattering on this character here. I have a cast shadow here under her chest, and then I have some direct light entering the skin right beneath that cast. Well, I'm going to get some subsurface scattering. It also just adds a lot of life to your character drawings. You can see here without the subsurface scattering, and then with it just makes the piece feel more vibrant. He's an artist guy. Good morning. Good morning. Whoops. Hope that's not a crash. I gotta marker that one. I gotta marker that one. There you go. Moving on. I think that's the simple cell shading, right? I guess there's the hair. Yes, there's the hair. And there's this purse, but we're getting close with the cell shading. Cool. Then important materials. I'm especially thinking of this right now white material, because that is supposed to be like a liquid chromy thing. So it's actually not supposed to be this white at all, except in selected spots. So let's just turn that down a little bit. Should we think of an environment here? Should we think, I mean, we should think of an environment. This was just it was a Control U brightness adjustment. I guess that didn't pop up on your screen, but Control U and like most graphics softwares will bring up a hue saturation value adjustment, and then you just yeah. Okay. When you paint so many demos today. When you paint reflections, it's really important to try and imagine an environment, because reflections, especially like chromy reflections, like the ones we're about to paint right now, are just the environment wrapped around the metal that you're rendering, right? So I've cheated a little bit from home and just Googled an HDRI, and then I'm just gonna like paint this onto the metal essentially. I'm thinking maybe I want a little less white. But essentially, and you can be varying degrees of thorough about this, but I'm trying to wrap this environment around each and every one of these pieces of metal in just a second. And then the only thing that I need to remember is I'm also doing the same thing with her colors. They'd also be reflected in the metal, right? So any plane here that's facing down and that's not reflecting her, I am painting quite bright because I have a bright floor. Any plane that's facing up, I'm painting darker, right? And then you're going to start to get that feeling of metal. What's going to really hammer it home is when I then grab a bright white and I put in the light sources. I made one of them circular. That's just because I like the shape that makes on like a chrome surface. Do I do YouTube? A little bit. So the YouTube I have is active. It's stream highlights though. So you get the best of a day like today. You'd get for example, you might get this little reflection tutorial bit as like a collected package instead of having to watch an entire stream for it, you know? Thanks for the follow. Man, that sound is so loud. Thanks for following. Let's find my Twitch and just go to like the creator dashboard or whatever and see if I can't just you guys get that sound too, right? Alerts. When you don't hear it? You don't even hear the sound? Well, then maybe there's no problem. Maybe we just, I guess it takes me out of it a little bit. Twitch alerts, this one. Properties. Okay, I'll put it on the to-do list. I want to add closed captions. I want to adjust alert sound. Lower it a bit and make you guys hear it. I don't have too many tutorials on faces at the moment. Not to say they'll never happen. But if you're looking for that specifically, I'll have to disappoint. At least for right now. Cool. So that's the look of the Chrome. The one thing is also, and I do like that there's a little bit of breakup in the ceiling. So let's just add that. Cool. Now we just paint that onto every bit of metal. It's going to take like half an hour or something. Hello, Max Animate. How you doing? You're gonna stay red if I make one? Holy peak character design. Oh, thanks. Is this my OC? Yeah, sure. It's Jacob Slop. it's what happens when I just kind of draw whatever the heck I want. And there's nothing wrong with that. Slop is not a derogatory term. It just means this is a bit more off the cuff. Stay ready. Oh, thanks for being an interpreter here. Now the thing here is you would be reflecting her quite a lot too. It's perfect. Keep doing that. Thanks. No, I like it too. That's why I'm doing it, right? And now let's, okay, we're trying to maximize the efficiency of the process by doing one step at a time across every surface, so I don't have to task switch too much. So right now we just cover every plane that faces up. We make that reflect darkness. You think I should add an eyebrow piercing? Let's see. It might get a little bit noisy. I think that is the big issue. You actually should not be chrome. You should be gold. It's reminding me of TB Choi and Riot in a great way. I'll take the TB Choi mention. That's I see that as a view that as a great compliment. Okay. Get back into this Chrome. But okay. No, I know, I understand what you're saying, but I'm telling you, it's noisy, right? It's a little too much information. Maybe you could do that, maybe. But it just feels like it's just a lot of visual noise. Can you explain just the thought process that got you there? I can tell you, if she didn't have the glasses, she would have an eyebrow piercing. So now we're making excuses. Whatever you say, man. What was I doing? Right. Yeah. Any lore behind the character? What's their name? Get creative. I don't know what to tell you. It's Jacob's Lot. There's not a lot. Nope. There is no lore. There's no lore. There's no name yet. There's only visuals. You could always houndify her a little. How would you houndify her? I tried to build her for a hound. She's a Nova Lux character. Yeah, you're the lore man. Whip something up, lore man. Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Oh, he's gonna cook. In like 5 minutes, we'll have lore. Easy, easy. He can do it. Oh, also, I gotta do the DMCA thing. I have 3 things on my Twitch to-do list. You got it. That's the idea. Okay. So fair enough. There kind of is lore. She's a character from a project I'm doing with Yorda, and the approach is she's like a nouveau riche mafia boss. That's like all the generic stuff that I know about her, or that I try to achieve with the design, right? There's a specific city she's from, or a specific part of the city that has more advanced high tech, that has this sort of liquid looking metal. So I guess I was a bit of a liar, huh? There is some ideas of lore, but there's no name. There's only like a general space in the world that she occupies. You could. Perfect design, well done. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. all the metal will definitely be simplified into like a 2 or 3 value system once we get cooking on the actual comic. But I wanted to go a little bit harder on this one, on this piece. Just to sort of sell the idea a little bit more. It's also, though it works, like in general for illustrations, I always feel a little bit dissatisfied when I go to do like implied reflections rather than actual proper reflections. Because we've done this before in other designs where it's just, you just do something that looks like chrome rather than something that behaves like chrome would in the environment. And it works, it just feels like a little bit of like a cheap solution. It's nicer to paint metals with like a proper environment. Okay, he's cooked some lore. Her name's Amelia Ashworth. She's the spoiled daughter of a powerful Nova Lux mafia corp called Max Ashworth. She's way too high rank for her maturity, and she always takes it out on the people around her. She controls the department of the company that does the communication between allies. Everyone is terrified of her, scaring people into cooperation. Brad Winter, anyone? Brad Winter? What's the brat color? It's something like... I feel like I need to find that color swatch right now. He cooked, I'm afraid. That's close off memory. What is a brat? It's a Charlie XCX album. It was all the rage last summer. Did I remember to? I did. It's someone who parties a lot and does a lot of drugs, I think. It's like ratchet hot, I think is like the log line for what a brat is. There you go. No, I know. This is literally just for the meme. This is literally just for the meme. It's gonna be red, gang. Don't worry, don't worry. With this design, the dog should have been a Chihuahua. Cool, and then you just run an export on that because that's the meme, and you put it in. And what was her name? Something Ash? My art is insane. Why am I so unrated? Thanks, Max. Amelia Ashworth. There you go. Brat. And then let's get back the let's get back the other one. There you go. Anything that faces up will be dark. All right, Ice Space Cow. Nice to have you. See you in the next one. Until then, have a good one. For you, on my phone, for you. When did I start streaming and making content? This August, I really started making an effort about that. Yeah. I'd been on Instagram for a long time, right? But starting to actually like make content, that was August, I think. Last August, of course, 2025. And you go here, and you go there. You go there. Yep. Yep. That's about right. I'm really hoping that Twitch doesn't do like, or that the copyright striking doesn't happen more than once per stream. Because then I can play bangers until I get copyright stricken and then I can back off. That could be cool. Otherwise, we will just be a bring your own banger stream, and that's fine. No, there's no music. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Because I haven't had that little Google about how anal they are about the DMCA strikes. It's gonna be interesting to see whether this whole reflection junk is gonna be worth it in the end. I think it's gonna look decently cool. So she's in charge of, you said, communications? Communication between allies. Oh, right. So she's like a figurehead. She's like a symbol of control and power. She's like a sort of diplomat. An envoy of death. Yes, yes. Yep. And you're kind of, well, you need a little bit of... Oh, we're gonna have to fix that. That's roughly that. Most of her power lies in that no one dares touch her because they're scared of her pops. She's not afraid of abusing that privilege. She's definitely very brat-coded. The audacity. Well, because Pop's tonally was like a little bit out of character of the narrator voice. And I guess I stopped feeling it. In a world where everyone's scared of her pops. So that's step 1 out of like 5 of the metal reflections here. Soon to be done. And there you go. Cool. Now what? Oh, I removed. There you go, my environment. You're bright, facing down. We kind of have that. You could just go in here and exaggerate it a little bit. So stuff that's actually fully facing down. Make it a little bit brighter. Because you're not getting wall, you're getting floor, and floor is what the light is hitting, so floor is brighter. And such as that. Holy Doms, your legs are fried. Is there anything like that you do about that? Delayed onset muscle soreness? Or do you literally just tank it? Sleep, eat, hydrate. Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Good. Now, I believe we do the light sources. And then after that, we do reflections off her specifically. Reflections that aren't the environment per se, but that are coming off of her and hitting the metal. Oh wait, we need to do the dog, all of this junk. Definitely reflecting floor here, here. There you go. I think that's it. Cool. Light sources, actual light sources. Well, they're kind of all the way around in the reference, but I think that's kind of bad. We should put them just up and to the right. Something like that. Something like that. Yup. If I were to simplify this reflection for like ink purposes, I might just do this white highlight here. And the dark reflection, this color, I might have done that as black. And then that could have been like a simplified version of making this reflective material here. Pick displayed color. There you go. Yeah, I think that's better. Because if you're working in ink, you just have black and white. It doesn't make sense to do like a super complex reflection system. Just do like an implied chrome, do the really bright reflections and do the really dark reflections, right? Okay, let's notice here that the light source is actually within the dark. So when I place my light sources, it'll be like within the dark areas of the reflections that I've already painted. The smaller the surface, the smaller the reflection of the light source in the surface will be. And also notice that it deforms with the surface, so it gets stretched on the tubes here. Oh, we're on the wrong layer. Light source from over here. Okay. And now we're just about at the point where we want to do reflections of the character in the metal. So, for example, this tube will see her jacket a lot. And so won't necessarily reflect a lot of the floor. This one will be seeing the dog a lot. And something else, I mean, so other than there being more black in the reflections, we also need to introduce a little bit of the gold in these reflections. We really want it to feel like the entire environment is being reflected in this metal. And the red, we're also going to see the red. I think that's the main thing that's going to make it feel like we're actually seeing the character reflected in the metal as well, is adding this gold and this red. Yeah, yeah. How's that working out? And then maybe do the cheap contrast boost. To have it really sing as like a chrome surface. Okay. So that's me trying to do that metal thing. Wrapping the reflections up, right? I found this reference. I'm going, okay, it's dark at the top. It's kind of like mid-tone in the middle, bright at the bottom. And then it's got these light sources up here near the top right. And then I'm wrapping that around. And then I wrap that around each of these metal forms using that same system, dark at the top, mid-tone around the middle, bright at the bottom. Then after doing that, I applied reflections from the character, mainly adding skin tones, reds, and golds into the reflections. And that hopefully leaves you with the impression that she's wearing a very reflective material that's reflecting the environment, this environment, as well as her own character and the dog. Yup. Thanks for the follow, Nazi Ali. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Maybe the gold reflection could be a little bit darker. And I might want to see a little bit more of it on the dog here. Because this form is surrounded by these gold chains, right? But that was certainly the most complex material to indicate, like for sure and by far. Now we can let go of the environment. The gold, we're just going to go with a simpler approach. We're not going to do super complex reflections. I also think since the chrome is so reflective, it's a nice contrast to have the gold be a little bit less reflective. So let's go in here with, let's make it a rougher gold is what I'm saying. Pick a darker color. Pick a brighter color for the highlights. And do like a bit of like a 3-tone system for the gold. Use the same light source, which is above and to the right now. I'm leaving a little bit of space on the other side of the shadows to sort of imply that this is still a reflective material, it's still a metal. So it is this thing of allowing there to be brighter and darker zones wrapping around the form. Whoops. There you go. Cool. And let's just do the highlight. Highlight tends to be the most important thing to imply that something is metal, because it's going to be quite bright, it's going to be quite small. Of course, it gets bigger when and less bright when we're dealing with a rougher metal, which is what I'm trying to imply here. So maybe I'd go a little bit darker actually. right, simple and implied for the gold. I think the amount of time it would take me to do like paint proper reflections for the gold, I don't think it's going to have as big of an impact as the proper chrome reflections did. So just going simple and implied with it. All right. She's wearing like a leather. She's wearing like a leather jacket. Let's get some reflections in here. We've established that the light is just white, so I'm not going to saturate the jacket in the light. I maybe want a little bit of texture in the leather, but largely I think I want it to be smooth. So I'm going to soften out most of the edges that I'm putting down. Yeah, I guess this one. Cool. That's kind of the leather. I think you would be more in shadow, honestly. And the other thing about this leather is I would like it to get darker around the edges, not just brighter near the center at the reflection. The same amount of light hits every material, right? Every surface, provided it's in the light. And I mean, I guess in a simplified world where they're all the same distance from the light. But apart from that, every surface hit by the same amount of light means that when you just increase the reflectivity, you get a tighter, brighter highlight. And so you get darker, you get more dark rest of the light. Let me try that one again. If I have a sphere, and this sphere is, let me try that one again. If I have a sphere, this sphere is reflecting, oh, this much light. If I'm not changing the color of the sphere, if I'm not changing the sphere from a diffused material to a metal, if I'm just changing the reflectivity, the highlight will get smaller and brighter, which also means that the rest of the lit side of the sphere will get darker, right? So part of making something look really reflective is, yes, adding the highlight, but also increasing the contrast between the highlight and the rest of the lit part of the material. You can see how that feels, how this even feels more reflective than that. But for sure, this feels more reflective than this. And part of that is darkening the light. That one was a little bit inelegant. I'll do that again some other time, where I don't have to finish a drawing in 20 minutes. Oh. Thanks for the follow, Bats Y, by the way. In the middle of that verbal scramble. Cool. We're certainly getting there. Piece is done soon. I keep forgetting the arm I'm gonna have to treat that one in a second. We're almost there. Highlights on the hair. Also need to do the tattoos. "13 minutes left. We're so close. We're so close, gang." And this tattoo. There you go. What else? What else? Hair, gradients, background flourish. Let's just select all the black that is in the hair. There you go. Mask that. Yep. And grab this, grab that. Apply this mask, use that as a mask. There you go. So now the gold thread is glowing as well, or is getting reflected as well. That's material indication. Now you do gradients. Now we do gradients. That's stuff like give the dog a little bit of space. Let him stand out a little bit. What else? What else? Right. Like typically I like to go in with like an overlay layer. That's good for adding those nice little gradients. Like to do like a warm color around focal points, areas where I want to maximize appeal. That's often face, hands. Right now I'm doing like a light cold color on metals just to make those feel a little bit more icy. Let's see. That's with and without that little bit of overlay. I think it's a little much in the head area, actually. Face area. Let's see how it look with a white background. Cool, cool. Probably want to do like a texture flourish in the background. Like something like feel like something like that could be cool. There's a million ways to present. Why would I consider this one? I would consider this one because it's a nice like contrast tool. You know, her palette is very red. This introduces like a secondary color to the composition, or it exaggerates my current use of like blue and black as a secondary color. Because blue and black relative to red is like a cooler color. So here I'm introducing a cooler color to the presentation. I think that's kind of dope. You could also just present on white. That's cool because that emphasizes the silhouette. Another thing we could do is there's millions of options. Really so many ways to present, right? Let's just export a couple of them here. Kind of like this. I kind of liked, I mean, we can do a clean one too. I liked it on white too. I even liked that little texture flourish. And finally, for the meme, let's Let's run the Brad version again. Sick. This would, of course, completely change the reflections. We're not going to go that deep with the meme. We're going to take it to just about here. Just about here. And that's going to be it. Cool. That was fun. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for joining the stream. This is the end of it. This is the end of this one. See you guys in the next one. Until then, have a